Port Harcourt, the River State capital, has witnessed heightened political tension in the state ahead of the October 5th local government elections. This has necessitated calls from residents for the political actors and their supporters to maintain the peace, as recent violence in the state is not only worrisome but poses a threat to the country's democracy. They maintain that a violence-free election is indeed possible if all parties play by the rules and eschew politics of rancor. And that's our focus on Panorama from Port Harcourt Network Center. I am Dibabari Siedoma Weke. Welcome. The recent Supreme Court judgment granting autonomy to local government councils will enhance Nigeria's universal basic education system. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this during the public presentation of a book, Navigating the Politics of Universal Basic Policies in Nigeria, written by Deputy Governor of Ekiti State, Professor Modupe Adelabu. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Professor Adelabu's insights are born out of experience and passion, and I believe this book will serve as a critical resource for all who seek to improve our educational landscape.
This is a celebration of excellence and scholarship. The book, Navigating the Politics of Universal Education Policies in Nigeria, bringing together politics, education, and funding, focuses on how Nigeria fared in the race to educate its citizens in line with the evolving needs in the global market.
By reading that book, we shall be wiser and we shall know better. We are going to be wiser. And for taking a copy of that book and reading it, we are going to know better about education.
Nigeria cannot stand as an island. While we are thinking of what we need here, let's also think of how we are going to be relevant globally. And that is what I've tried to talk about in this book.
And the federal government is leveraging the charge to actualize educational agenda by using the local government areas to ensure proper policy implementation.
The recent Supreme Court judgment empowering local government councils to control their resources brings government closer to the people. It provides new hope for our educational initiatives. And as a governor, as a former governor, I won't join in gloating and insulting the governors that they have been castrated from having access to local government funds. Far from it, we need to align with the governors and see that the educational needs of our children are catered for.
I know that when we pick a copy of this book, or more copies for others to read, we'll be transferring that version of Prof to each and every one of us.
The greatest concern of discussant is the politics that has eaten deep into the standards of the nation's education, urging government at all levels to review educational policies in Nigeria for national development. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Minister of Information and National Orientation Muhammad Idris has urged international media outlets to adhere to the principles of fairness, accuracy, and objectivity in their reporting on issues concerning Nigeria. The minister, while playing host to the Director Global News and Deputy CEO of the British Broadcasting Corporation, Jonathan Monroe, pledged the federal government's commitment to press freedom. Sahil Wanara reports.
Nigeria has remained a preferred destination for businesses from around the world. British Broadcasting Corporation (BBC) is one of those organizations taking advantage of Nigeria's population and rich culture and pledged to continue partnership. Here, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, assured investors with genuine interest in promoting Nigeria's unity in diversity, particularly those in the media industry, a conducive atmosphere and freedom.
The Nigerian authorities, particularly this administration, is committed to ensuring that practitioners in the area of media and journalism in general do their operations freely without any form of interference. And we intend to keep it so. But we also urge you to continue to balance your stories, to hear our side, our own side of the story. It's not only the bad news that comes out of Nigeria, a lot of good things. I'm sure your correspondents on ground will have seen that.
We're committed to continuing with our mission and to growing our audience here in Nigeria, particularly those audiences who find consumption of news more challenging, perhaps those who are not as capable of getting news digitally as other parts of the country. And thanks to the partnership we have with the Nigerian people, we have more than 30 million people coming to services every week.
The minister solicited support and partnership with BBC to sustain the training of Nigerian broadcasters. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University, Kashere, Gombe State, Professor Umar Pate, has emerged as the pioneer president of the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters following election of new executives at the first national conference. Charles Alpha reports that new members were also inducted at the event in Abuja.
Day 2 of the conference began with the induction of 157 new members, cutting across various broadcasting organizations in Nigeria. They were tasked with the responsibility of upholding the tenets and core values of the broadcast organization. After the induction came the maiden election. Vice Chancellor, Federal University, Gombe State, and the former zonal director of the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, Okodua Matthew, were the two candidates who contested for the post of the president, with the rest positions unopposed. Professor Pate won with 231 votes, while Mr. Okodua garnered 12 votes.
We are accepting to serve the broadcasting industry, to promote the integrity and interests of every broadcaster.
Convener of the National Conference and Chairman Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, Saliu Abdul Hamid Dembos, and other veterans expect a rapid transformation under this new leadership.
There's so much to be done. We need to, in the first place, have the legal backing for this association. And of course, we have to extend our dragnet for membership.
We will wish to see, the welfare of broadcasters in Nigeria.
We want sanity in the
that have almost given up all. Then it springs forth and begins to grow rapidly.
Before now, the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters was overseen by the leadership of BON. The new executive members are expected to serve for an initial 2 years. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Destruction caused by a heavy downpour along the Kano-Maiduguri Expressway is alarming. A situation has led to a quick response by the federal government to address the situation. Abdullahi Aminu has visited some of the flood-affected communities along the road, which is connecting the entire northeastern states with other parts of the country. Here is his report.
It could be recalled that in the last week, this was the situation of Guskuri and Sabangari villages when their houses were destroyed, farmland submerged by water, and some parts of the federal road crossing through them were cut off as a result of a heavy downpour. This is how the overflow of the water in some of the flood-affected communities is presently forcing the people to find it difficult getting out of their communities. Other communities were also seen being forced to have gotten for themselves a temporary shelter. To them, this process of using leaves and stem of trees is their only way to start their lives, though a temporary measure is provided by the Bauchi state government, but the situation at the cut-up portions of the Kano-Maiduguri road is still under a careful watch.
Tun ana jin labarinsa daga nesa ana ga irin wanda yake zuwa ake wuce wannan ne ya zo fa karfin mutane. Ya zo ya shiga cikin gari, ya rurrushe gidaje, duk wani gari da yake kan bakin hanyar ruwan nan duk ba garin da ba ruwan da bai ci ba duk ya tattashi gari duka birni da ƙauye wanda yake kan hanyar ruwa da gonake da gidaje.
This is actually a temporary measure by the Bauchi state government, while the federal government has directed the Federal Ministry of Works to properly evaluate the situation for emergency solutions. In Bauchi, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has commenced a 2-day flawed assessment tour to Bauchi State with the commissioning of 35.5 kilometers Bauchi-Gombe Road. He assured Nigerians of the federal government's determination to ensure total rehabilitation of dilapidated roads across the country for an enhanced socio-economic development. Muazu Hassan reports.
Arrival of the Minister of Work, Senator David Umahi, at the Gombe Airport to Bauchi State is part of the federal government commitment to ensure the commencement of this Bauchi-Gombe Road rehabilitation project.
We have about 135 kilometers of Gombe-Bauchi road. Then 35 kilometers, the end of the road to Bauchi, is been awarded to the glory of God. Amen. Thank you.
Over 39 billion naira is provided by the federal government to this road project, which is awarded in April and expected to be completed within 18 months.
Beyond that, I've seen the balance of 100 kilometers of the road that are in very terrible condition. And what I've directed my director, who is here, Engineer Bakari, and the Deputy Director, Musa, is to deploy consultant to redesign this remaining 100 kilometers.
The minister commended the effort put in place by the Bauchi and Gombe state government on the road, with assurance of payment of any state that embark on the rehabilitation of any federal road. In Bauchi, Muaz Hassan, NTA News.
Of the October 5, 2024 local government election in Rivers State, stakeholders have continued to call on political gladiators to guard their tongues so as to reduce tension in the polity. Gospel Iregu sought the views of some Port Harcourt residents on how to maintain peace and political stability in the state.
In the run-up to the October 5, 2024 local government elections in Rivers State, the political landscape is already charged with stakeholders expressing misgivings over the political elites failing to atone for their unguarded utterances and actions, which is a precursor for violence.
People who will affirm the fact that there is need for peace and tranquility in the state.
It has been argued that the recent bombing of the State Party Secretariat of Action People's Party APP is associated with the upcoming local government elections in the state, especially the rumored defection of the state governor Siminalayi Fubara to the party. Stakeholders believe that curbing election violence rests squarely on the shoulders of political leaders whose body languages set the political ambience and thus beat the drum for their foot soldiers and supporters with threat to violence. To restrict the ordinary voter to participate in the elections,
I do not see anybody coming to create greater confusion. We have had enough, and those who want to do that should be ashamed of themselves. Rivers State has had enough of violence.
It is our own right also constitutionally or fundamentally to participate in the election, and that we are going to do to help in the development of Rivers State.
Stakeholders are of the view that election at any level is not a do-or-die affair, as it offers citizens opportunity to their leaders. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Joining me to discuss issues surrounding the October 5 election is Professor Patrick Nwilobugi. He is a professor of administration. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Looking at issues surrounding the forthcoming election in Rivers State, there have been pockets of attacks in the state. And what are your thoughts concerning issues like that?
Electoral violence has been with us over years. And we cannot at this moment
believe that we can stop it, because stopping it means we have to initiate some procedural effort. There is poverty in the land, and so the less privileged young boys and girls in society saw opportunity for little money, and they are easily bought over by actors at the political arena. Parties and individuals who are involved in politics believe that only the people who have arms can make them win election, and therefore the general awareness of crime-based election is everywhere within us. It will take us time, unless we change our approach and strategies, before we can get a fair election in the states.
Okay. I'm talking about still on violent issues. Looking at the exercising of franchise of voters, what is the way out to stem the tide of this violence in, all spheres of the state when it comes to election matters?
Election crisis is one unit of crisis in our polity. It's one, and we cannot make effort to remove one while others are existing. Now it's just a consequence of the systemic corruption in our country. Now, a lot of persons who work with the state governments have no house to live in. They have no light. They have to struggle to buy gen for them to see light in our country. And so when they see opportunity that can give them money to buy gen and rent a house, the actors in the political arena have made available these resources. See, there is nothing we can do, but they have to jump at it. And so it's very important for government to look at the comfort of people in the country. Okay. What I mean by comfort is, if you look at the case of Rwanda and the lanky, what they call the lanky president, Kagame, he saw that the problem of Rwanda was that of accommodation. And so what he tried to do was to provide houses for every working man in Rwanda. You see, when you do that, you reduce the desire for human beings to look for additional source of wealth. And so they were available. What they were facing now is hard to feed. And so now in our country, there's no light, there's no house. So everybody is struggling to get these basics of need. And so stopping electoral attack or crisis cannot just be on the face of television or newspaper. We have to go back to address the root causes of them.
Okay. We also had incidents where INEC officers and with PVCs and other sensitive electoral materials were raised by hoodlums. What does such act portend for Nigeria's democracy?
Hoodlums who are on the one side of the political, action groups, when they find that INEC officials are on the other side of the bargain, they must look for a way to at least deliver their candidates that have paid them. And so that's why you see hoodlums attacking INEC officials. But where election process is fair, and we have strong institutions that regulate the process of election, you will see that even hoodlums will have no, access to election. Yeah. Now that's why sometimes when you listen to the wave of election in the state, you find when they discuss, they call it conventional security and the non-conventional security. In short, they have leveraged the non-conventional, that's the hoodlums. They use them to perpetuate crime so that they can get results.
And just finally, your words to political parties and all those involved in the elections, quickly.
Political parties should have ideologies as we have in other climes. Okay. They should have why they are contesting. But it looks like all the parties have no ideology, so they pursue the same interest. And so parties should preach the sovereignty of the legal process, the strengths of the repressive and regulatory apparatus of the state, so that they can be covered when propagating their party ideologies. If the parties understand and appreciate that the institutions are strong, then they can demonstrate their political wills on the people.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Patrick Winyopoli, for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you very much for coming on the program too. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. The House of Representatives Technical Subcommittee on Tertiary Education Trust Fund, led by its chairman, Honorable Miriam Odinaka, has rated 4 tertiary institutions in Rivers State high in General Performance Index. Government House correspondent Osinochi Samuel reports that this was when the committee visited Governor Siminalayi Fubara in Port Harcourt.
Elated by the satisfactory remarks made by the committee, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara notes that the state's 4 tertiary institutions are top-notch in terms of infrastructure, manpower and service delivery, and has been generally competitive over the years.
And the project also lifted the university, helped them in accreditations because of the level of work they did. So I want to thank not just you, but the initiators, which is the federal government, and the support that the National Assembly are giving to see that these funds are utilized for the good of our tertiary institution.
He also advised against individual or collective decisions and actions that inadvertently destroy public institutions. Chairman of the House of Representatives Technical Subcommittee on Tertiary Education Trust Fund and Other Services, led by its chairman, Miriam Odinaka Onoha, notes that they are in the state to oversight duties on TED Fund projects and are pleased with what is on ground.
The reason I also want to appreciate the heads of tertiary institutions state-owned in Rivers State is that you've done relatively well compared to some of your the other institutions where we have visited, where we have outstandings up to the tune of 8 billion.
The lawmakers urged the management of the 4 institutions to leverage available funding to upscale infrastructure, training opportunities and other facilities. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
And remediation of polluted Ogoni land by the federal government has been noted to be a visible template to restoring the Niger Delta region for sustainable development. This was the view of House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Host Communities during a visit to hydrocarbon pollution remediation project sites in Rivers State. Robinson Jati has the details.
House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Host Communities were on an inspection visit to various remediation sites in Eleme and Tai local government areas of Rivers State. The team was satisfied with the renewed vigor of IPREP to facilitate the Ogoni land cleanup. They noted that Ogoni specialists and cottage hospitals are different levels of construction, and the completed 60,000 Pogo water scheme, among others, will provide the needed health services for the people.
We see renewed vigor in the delivery of these services to the people of Ogoni land. And I must use this opportunity to commend the Honorable Minister of Environment and also the project coordinator of the HIPREP and their team. Having been around, both when I was a member of the Committee on Environment and when I also started as chairman of this committee, I think we can spot the difference.
From day one, I assured every stakeholder that we would ensure that we give the Ogoni people the very best, because we are mindful of the fact that we are developing a template, not just for Ogoni, but a template that will be replicated in the rest of the Niger Delta.
The committee, however, invited contractors who failed the standard to a meeting while promising to address issues concerning a landowner who barricaded some sites from being remediated at Ogale in Eleme.
I'm going to end with an interactive session. So we expect that those from the communities that are affected, those who have concerns, be you a contractor, be you a chief, whoever you are.
The committee also appealed to donor agencies to redeem their funding pledge. Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Update with Gift Judge. That's it on Panorama from Port Harcourt Network Center. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.